Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The second debate, who won? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. There was high drama last night because Donald Trump was on the ropes. The vulgar tape and the wall-to-wall reporting of it had the Republican candidate in a very bad place. But Trump somehow, against all odds, won the debate. He won because Secretary Clinton could not knock him out. And after the first 30 minutes, Trump went on offense, regaining at least some momentum. Here's how it went down. The debate opened with no handshake. Then, Secretary Clinton fired the first round.
What we all saw and heard on Friday was Donald talking about women, what he thinks about women, what he does to women, and he has said that the video doesn't represent who he is. But I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is. But it's not only women, and it's not only this video that raises questions about his fitness to be our president, because he has also targeted immigrants, African Americans, Latinos, people with disabilities, POWs, Muslims, and so many others.
Trump answered with a strategy he has used before.
Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them here tonight. One of the women, who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off.
The story here is that in 1975, an Arkansas judge appointed Hillary Clinton to represent accused child rapist Thomas Taylor. Counselor Clinton was successful in raising doubt, and Taylor pled out to unlawful fondling of a child, serving just 1 year in jail. The victim, Kathy Shelton, appeared with Donald Trump in a press conference just prior to the debate, saying the way Mrs. Clinton treated her when she was 12 years old damaged her for life. Trump then pounded home the theme that Mrs. Clinton's past record makes her a hypocrite on the woman abuse issue.
When Hillary brings up a point like that, and she talks about words that I said 11 years ago, I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
Mrs. Clinton jumped on that, saying that Trump is never contrite.
He never apologizes for anything to anyone. He never apologized to Mr. and Mrs. Khan, Gold Star family, whose son, Captain Khan, died in the line of duty in Iraq. And Donald insulted and attacked them for weeks over their religion. And he never apologized for the racist lie that President Obama was not born in the United States of America. He owes the president an apology.
Mr. Trump seized upon the Obama reference to lob this grenade.
Michelle Obama, I've gotten to see the commercials that they did on you, and I've gotten to see some of the most vicious commercials I've ever seen of Michelle Obama talking about you, Hillary.
And that reference is to the Clinton-Obama primary race of 2008, when Mrs. Obama said this.
One of the things, the important aspects of this race is role modeling what good families should look like. And my view is that if you can't run your own house, you certainly can't run the White House. Can't do it.
So after about 30 minutes of personal attacks, Trump was still standing, a win for him. Then came more personal attacks.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception, has never been anything like it. And we're going to have a special prosecutor.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Now, that quip about the email situation angered some on the left. A CNN reporter compared it to something Hitler and Stalin might say. A bit hysterical, to say the least. We'll show you the clip later on. After about 1 hour, it was obvious that Donald Trump had done enough to survive, to live to fight another day. It's not that Hillary Clinton did anything poorly, But she has a tough road with the chaos overseas, the impending collapse of Obamacare, the email fiasco, and her attachment to Barack Obama's policies. With about 2/3 of Americans believing the country's going in the wrong direction, Secretary Clinton is a soft target on policy.
If she's president of the United States, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to be talk.
But Mrs. Clinton does have a record in Congress, which she pointed out.
400 pieces of legislation have my name on it as a sponsor or co-sponsor when I was a senator for 8 years. I worked very hard and was very proud to be reelected in New York by an even bigger margin than I had been elected the first time.
Now, as the debate drew to a close, there were two things apparent to fair-minded people. Hillary Clinton did not hurt herself and will remain the front runner. But Donald Trump, in a very difficult spot, was able to stand his ground, defend himself, and make some policy points that resonated. He's still in it. And that in itself, after all that happened over the weekend, is a major victory for him. And that's a memo. Next on the Rundown Reaction, Krauthammer, Goldberg, and Luntz. Then later, Waters on Columbus Day. Poor Chris. We're coming right back. Continuing now with our lead story, analyzing last night's debate. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. So where am I going wrong, Charles?
Well, you're mostly right, which in and of itself is a surprise. And actually his high point was something that you didn't mention, but his reference to Lincoln, that was essentially a play on the Lloyd Benson line. That was essentially him saying, I knew Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln was a friend of mine, and you are not Abe Lincoln. I thought that was extremely effective, and it appeared spontaneous.
Yeah, it was.
But his low point was something that you seem to brush off as something that would only concern the left. When you look at your opponent and you threaten to put your opponent in jail, you have gone way over the line of political decency in this country. That's not Hitler, Stalin. That's Banana Republic.
All right, I disagree.
That's what happens but let me just,
all right.
I've got a thought. I'm going to finish it.
Go ahead.
And that is, we have had 250 years of miraculous transfer of power done peacefully and consensually. The one thing we don't do is to put people in jail or to execute them. In other countries, your life can be on the line in elections. And we had a long history where you don't even talk about that. The breach of that etiquette of talking about, I'm going to personally order a special prosecutor. Incidentally, the law wouldn't even allow that. But nonetheless, and then you would end up in jail as if he's prejudging it, is something that should never be done, and is another example of Trump lowering the level of our discourse.
All right, I disagree because, number one, he has to play to a certain voter, all right, who does believe that Mrs. Clinton got away with a national security violation that no one else would have gotten away with. And millions of those voters out there. So, yeah, you're right. He can't put anybody in jail if he's president. You can't just sign executive orders when he's incarcerated. But certainly he would have the power to his Justice Department to reopen an investigation that the government deemed to be not credible. He does have the power to do that. And I wasn't offended by that so much in the sense that I knew it was a quip off the top of his head, which, you know, and I think it helped him. I really believe that helped him.
But you always defend Trump by saying, he said X, it perhaps was not the right thing to do. Maybe it was constitutionally.
Oh, you didn't believe he literally was going to put him in jail, do you?
But he was appealing, and it works for him. Works for him is different from saying it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
The low point of the convention was the crowd saying, lock her up.
Okay.
That's not
we
what
want
people
civility,
ought to be thinking.
and we on this program, as you well know, have stayed out of the swamp. But you can't tell me that you thought that Donald Trump was saying, if I'm elected, I'm going to incarcerate this woman like I would do in an inquisition. He was making a point that there would be a special prosecutor. The email thing would be reopened because, again, many millions of Americans feel that this was the fix was in, that another president, Barack Obama, made sure that it wasn't, an honest investigation did not take place. So I hope we have a tradition in this country of honest investigations, and that's how I took it.
Look, one of the presidents that we retroactively revere is Gerald Ford, in a situation with Nixon, who was clearly guilty. But he understood it would heal the country, and that in America, you don't put ex-presidents in jail. It cost him the presidency, which makes it a profile in courage. But here we could all agree there was obviously way overstepping the line. He would have been impeached and all that, and he probably would have been convicted.
But there's a difference.
It's understood in this country that you don't put political losers in jail.
It's a difference. It's more than political losers. In the Watergate situation, the system worked. All right? The investigation led to wrongdoing on the part of Richard Milhous Nixon. All right? Now, what Ford did, and I support that as a historian, you're absolutely right. He said, it doesn't get us any further as a nation to punish this man. So I'm going to pardon him. But this is different because this investigation, and there's a lot of evidence that point to this, was a fraud. It was a fraud because of politics. So if Trump's going to go in and say, I want an honest investigation, if I'm elected, I'm going to see it happens, I don't think that's a cheap shot thing.
It's worse than a cheap shot thing. And you're probably right that it works with his base. And in one sense, you could say, yes, this is allowing justice to go ahead. But the idea that you threaten your opponent with jail, and he used the word jail, I didn't, it, to me, is a breach of the decency of our system where we don't do that,
all right,
even where it might be warranted, as in the Nixon case.
I will cede that there are two sides to this story, and I'm glad we had this debate because you'll see this nowhere else on television.
Right.
Hammer and O'Reilly. You will never see it. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I do not believe that was an honest investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. And as an American citizen, I do not want the highest levels of our government, the president, the attorney general, and the FBI, to be in the tank on an investigation of this import. And if I was president, I'd do the exact thing. Last word.
Look, I understand the will to do that. I simply believe that there are certain limits to political discourse and to what you do to your opponent. And in this case, it was something that have you ever heard a presidential candidate ever threatening another with that kind of legal, and he's done it with others. He said to the guy, owner of Chicago White Sox, who put the money in the campaign against him, he said he's got business things. He better watch out if I'm president.
No, I don't like the threats either.
That's not unique to him. That's what he's doing, and that's a misuse of the powers of the presidency.
All right, Charles Gradheimer, everyone. Directly ahead, hysteria on the left. Then more hysteria from Goldberg and Waters. Right back. Personal Story segment tonight, looking at the world the way it is, not the way you want it to be, the way it is. Opinions divided over how well Clinton and Trump did last night. We all know that. And that's fine, as long as the analysis is grounded in reality. As reported in the Talking Points memo and discussed with Charles Krauthammer, after Mr. Trump quipped he would put Hillary Clinton in jail if elected, one reporter said this.
Not to sound too corny, but what makes this country different from countries with dictators in Africa or Stalin or Hitler or any of those countries with dictators and totalitarian leaders is that when they took over, they put their opponents in jail.
No, they shot them. Jail was not even in the equation. Stalin, Hitler, like this. Joining us now from Boston, Marianne Marsh, and from Washington, Katie Pavlich. All right, so, whenever I get the Hitler-Stalin business, I know Idi Amin's going to come in soon. I just roll my eyes, Katie, and I just say, come on, will you? I mean, Trump, it was all about getting attention and focusing negative attention on his opponent. It was over the top. What else is new? What say you?
I think that we have to make a very important distinction here. Donald Trump was not talking about throwing Hillary Clinton in jail simply because she is a political opponent. Yes, that is what happens in Africa, as Dana Bash explained. He was specifically referring to appointing a special prosecutor, a neutral player who wouldn't get on an airplane with the husband of the nominee for president, who was under federal criminal investigation for hosting top secret classified information on a plane for a secret meeting with the Attorney General a week before a non-indictment comes down. He was simply talking about the fact that a lot of Americans believe, 56% of them, according to polling, that Hillary Clinton should have been indicted, that she's above the law, including 30%
but I don't take that
of Democrats.
poll seriously. What I do take seriously, Marianne, is the appearance of impropriety and the mini revolution going on right now within the FBI. There is nobody happy about this except for the powers that be in the Democratic Party. But I want to hear your point of view. Go.
Well, I have 2 points. First, to your FBI reference, I hear that the very people who worked on this case absolutely, positively believe this was not even a close call, that no charges should be brought. And they argued hard for that. So I would be interested in your sources, and I'm sure you're interested in mine, number one.
The sources have already written about it. They're retired FBI, because if you did that while you were an active agent, you'd be fired. But there are a lot of big-time FBI agents who have already written about it. And I'm...
Former.
And
right.
people have told me...
Now
people have told me directly that they don't believe that this was this did not come under the FBI protocol. This went way out of protocol. What's your second point?
I think everyone's entitled. My second point is what Donald Trump said in the debate last night is said by petty dictators in third world countries and people like Vladimir Putin. And Trump is an admirer of Putin, which I think is incredibly interesting. He's constantly defending him. He says he didn't hack into the DNC. He says he's not hacking the election. Yet the President of the United States, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and DHS all say that is a fact, that he's trying to overthrow this election. Yet Donald Trump admires Putin, defends
if that's
Putin,
true,
and I think that is wrong.
If that's true, number
Bill.
one, the government should present the evidence to the American people. Number two, there should be sanctions against Putin by the Obama administration.
Well,
now, Katie, overall assessment last time, I'm going to ask Marianne this too. Who won and why?
I think Donald Trump won for two reasons. The first is that he did better than the first debate, which was an easy bar to get over. And second, he beat Hillary Clinton on the issues. She sounded just like she did in the first debate with the details that she brought to the table. Donald Trump brought information, proved that he could prepare for a debate, and I think actually had more to say when it came to hammering her and not missing opportunities on things like Syria and particularly actually on the Russian reset button.
All right.
Let's
give Marianne the last 30 seconds. Go.
Hillary Clinton went in the front runner. She came out the front runner. At this stage of the game, with 29 days left, if you're not adding votes, you're losing. Donald Trump now has a double-digit deficit to Hillary Clinton. In the Wall Street Journal poll that came out this afternoon, it only covered the tape on Friday. He's down 11 points, lost 13 points with Republicans. She gained 14 points with women. He may have picked up support with Republicans last night in the debate, but not with women. That will cost him dearly.
All right. I'm going to predict that Thursday, when we see the first polls after the debate, Trump will be down by 5 or 6. Ladies,
Still
thank you very much.
road of time.
Plenty more ahead as Factor moves along this evening. Dialing for politics, Frank Luntz has some dubious moments of the debate, direct from the folks. Then Waters on Columbus Day.
Who discovered America?
Abraham Lincoln.
When Lincoln arrived in America, what was the first thing he did?
I could imagine he got with the Pilgrims.
We hope you stay tuned for those reports. Weekdays with Bernie segment tonight, the debate moderators, they did okay, except for this.
Why do they have to say we're going to be attacking Mosul within the next 4 to 6 weeks, which is what they're saying? How stupid is our country?
There are sometimes reasons the military does that. Psychological warfare.
I can't think of any.
It might be to help get civilians out.
Now that sequence with ABC News reporter Martha Raddatz in the role of Hillary Clinton because she was debating Trump, Ms. Raddatz was. Joining us now from North Carolina, Bernie Goldberg. So I do that. That's what I do. I mean, when we don't interview people traditionally here, we say, hey, come on. You know, the Army has to get the civilians out of there. Okay, you should know better than that. But in a debate, you're not supposed to do that. That's supposed to be Hillary Clinton's job, right?
Yeah, that jumped out at me, too. Martha Raddatz sounded not like a moderator when she did that, but like a debater who was challenging Donald Trump. Donald Trump had just said he thought it was a bad idea to announce in advance that there's imminent attack on Mosul to rid the city of ISIS. He may be right, he may be wrong, but it's not a crazy idea. It's his opinion. And it's not up to the moderator to challenge that opinion. By the way, if he made a factual mistake, she could challenge him and correct him. I have no problem with that. But it's not up to Martha Raddatz, the moderator, to challenge Trump's opinion by giving either White House opinions on the subject or Pentagon opinions or both. She shouldn't be channeling the Obama administration.
I think she was channeling herself. She's an expert in this kind of thing. I work with her. I want everybody to know.
But hold on. But then she could have. She gave the opinions of the Obama administration, whether it's the Pentagon, the White House, whatever. She could have found or quoted nonpartisan experts who think that Donald Trump is right if she wanted to, but she only chose.
But I think she was speaking for herself, not channeling the opposition. But be that as it may, she shouldn't have done it. That's not what a debate moderator does, unless you change the debate rules, which would be much better, by the way, to have both political candidates actually challenged about what they say rather than blathering all day long about God knows what, and then you fact-checked after the debate. Now, I didn't think, other than that, though, I didn't think they were, sometimes they cut Trump off a little too quick and they gave Hillary, I guess, but it wasn't egregious, was it?
No, I agree with you. As a matter of fact, let's stay on with Martha Raddatz for a second. She asked some tough questions of Hillary Clinton during the debate. She asked her if she was two-faced because she had one opinion on certain issues privately, which was different from her public position. So I didn't have a problem with that. Here's what I did have a problem with. There was one question that was not asked that would have been a huge help for Donald Trump. Because of the leaks, the WikiLeaks, it turns out that Hillary Clinton told some bankers that she has a dream, her words, of open borders in the hemisphere. Well, you know what? The American people don't want open borders. The American people know that open borders would drive wages down for poor people, that open borders would put millions of kids, many of whom don't speak any English, into our already crowded public schools. Open borders would add to congestion, would cause housing problems, and on and on.
And security. I mean, the terrorists kind of danced right across.
Right.
Okay, but that was Trump's responsibility. And he should have been on that.
He blew it. But that was in the news, and the moderators chose not to ask it.
Know.
If anybody in the audience wanted to ask it, I don't know, but it didn't come out. And
it should have come out. Absolutely.
Trump ultimately had the opportunity. And for whatever reason,
he didn't remember.
He
but
blew it.
He had a lot of other stuff, and I know we're going to try to get him on tomorrow. He'll say, "Well, I can't remember everything," and that's true. Now, the first half hour of the debate was all about the Trump tape, and that was what the drama was, that people were going to see if he could stand up to the fire. Do you think he did?
Well, he said the same thing over and over again, which was it was locker room talk. That's the only thing he could say. He said, I'm sorry, it was locker room talk. People are either going to buy that or they're not going to buy that. That's all
then
he could do. There was nothing else he could do, really.
But he did do something else. He brought in the Clinton situation and tried to diminish his situation by pointing to theirs and the hypocrisy of the press.
Right. I know you believe in bad behavior doesn't justify other bad behavior.
Right.
So politically, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. It may not have been. But you know what? It's about time somebody said it. What he did, and I am not justifying anything he said. I want to make that absolutely clear. But it is perfectly legitimate, in my mind anyway, to say what I did was wrong, but what I did were words, which is what he said. But I am not holding, what he should have said was, I am not holding you accountable, Mrs. Clinton, for what your husband did in a predatory sense. I'm not talking about anything consensual, but I'm not holding you responsible for anything he did that was unwelcome towards women. I am holding you responsible, Mrs. Clinton, because you tried to trash those women. He wasn't as articulate as I think he could have been on that, but I think what he did say was a legitimate point. Whether or not it's a good political point, we'll see. But I think it was a legitimate point.
Bernie Goldberg, everybody. When we come right back, Frank Luntz with his world-famous styling sessions. How the regular folks saw the debate last night. And what is trying to help Christopher Columbus. Up ahead. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Impact segment tonight. 30 uncommitted voters joined Frank Luntz in St. Louis last night to analyze the debate. Now, I like these sessions because I believe regular folks, you guys, see things in perhaps a more fair way than the pinhead journalists do. Also, Frank dialed up the Trump apology on videotape. Joins us now here in New York City. So, the first thing we're going to see is the best moment for Secretary Clinton, correct?
Correct.
All right.
There's not that much to choose from, but we did choose the best we could find.
Roll the tape.
I think we've got to go where the money is, and the money is with people who've taken advantage of every single break in the tax code. And yes, when I was a senator, I did vote to close corporate loopholes. We have to make up for lost times because I want to invest in you. I want to invest in hardworking families. I think it's been unfortunate, but it's happened, that since the Great Recession, the gains have all gone to the top. And we need to reverse that.
Okay, so even the Republicans are above 50%, and this is leaners because they are all uncommitted. Right. But on the uncommitted side, you ask them if they lean, which way they lean. So why was that so successful? Because she said that a number of times before, right?
She sounded like Bernie Sanders, and it was a little bit of the class warfare argument that we hear on the Democratic side. The reason why it worked is because people felt like she was fighting for them. There's too much from both political candidates that it seems like they want you to vote for them. In that clip, she was speaking on behalf of hardworking families.
Okay,
which is
so
a
that's what
phrase.
resonated. Now, you made an aside that there weren't that many good moments for her. I didn't think she did that badly. I just think that Trump stepped up his game.
And yet he still had some weaknesses. Whenever he's defending himself, every time he goes back to trying to explain something he said or something he did.
He doesn't do it well, right?
He does it horribly.
Okay. Well, we'll get to his apology in a moment, but this was Trump's best moment, according to Luntz. Go.
There has never been anything like this where emails and you get a subpoena, and after getting the subpoena, you delete 33,000 emails. Then you acid wash them or bleach them, as you would say, a very expensive process. So we're going to get a special prosecutor and we're going to look into it because you know what? People their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done. And it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Secretary Clinton.
Okay, now the reason you didn't see the other two lines was because it was off the chart, right?
It was practically breaking my system.
So because he was scolding her. That's what it was, right?
He was holding her accountable in a way that the media has not.
But he scolded her. You should be ashamed. You did all this stuff. And so the independents and the Trump leaners, that went off the chart. But even the Hillary Clinton leaners, it was above 50%.
And the reason why is as angry as they are with Donald Trump and his tax returns, and how they still feel that he needs to release them, which obviously he won't, they're much more upset over Hillary Clinton and her emails. Trump's tax returns are about his own personal life. Her emails are about government and national security.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So that was Trump's best moment in the whole hour and a half.
Because it represents accountability, which is something that they believe is not happening in Washington.
Well, it's also not happening to Hillary Clinton because she doesn't do a lot of interviews, and the press, obviously rooting for Donald Trump.
Which is a smart
rooting
strategy.
Against Donald Trump.
By the way, if I'm her, I actually would go to the Tower Bridge in London, and I would stay there for the next 28 days.
Yeah, and she will. She's going to hide out, I think. All right, here is the Trump apology on videotape. Go.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize. I've traveled the country talking about change for America. My travels have also changed me.
All right, so he didn't do bad on that, right?
He didn't do bad, but the language was so awful. We can't show it here because these are words that Fox News will not put on television. And it was so low that the lines actually went below the screen. When voters got a chance, and very few of our uncommitted voters are the people who matter most, very few of them had actually heard the full words of what he said.
So you had to play that first, what he said, and then play his apology.
Correct.
That's how you set it up. So when you played the horrendous audio and video off the Access Hollywood bus, the lines went below sea level.
They were the worst of anything we've ever tested.
Okay.
It was even worse than Bill Clinton trying to define what the word is during the impeachment trial.
But the explanation, at least half of them bought it.
Because he actually said the words, I apologize, I'm sorry. But there's one problem, which is you notice he was reading from a teleprompter.
Yep.
I would have advised him to speak from the heart.
Yep.
It's okay to miss a few words. It's okay to stumble, because that's what we do in reality. In that case, he needed to be even more himself, even more sincere, and he should have done that in the debate as well.
All right, Frank Luntz. Waters on deck. It's Columbus Day. Does anyone care? Waters is next. Back in the book segment tonight, Waters World. The urchins off from school today because of Christopher Columbus, who may have discovered America in 1492 while sailing under the Spanish flag. I say may because the Vikings say they discovered America much earlier, and we all know what happens when you disagree with Vikings. Anyway, we sent Waters out to sample opinion about Columbus.
In your opinion, who discovered America?
I'm a natural blonde, you do know that.
Who discovered America?
Abraham Lincoln.
Holy! Who discovered America?
Wasn't it Christopher Columbus?
The Indians, the Native Americans?
They say Christopher Columbus, but it was named after Amerigo Vespucci, who had initially found the continent.
That is correct.
What was the ship that Lincoln came to America on?
Maybe America.
The America?
Yeah.
That was the name of the ship?
I mean, maybe the ship's name was America.
I think you might be onto something.
Oh, okay.
Did Lincoln free the slaves before or after he discovered America?
After he discovered America.
Who do you think got here first?
I have absolutely, probably the Vikings.
So you think the Vikings got here first, but Christopher Columbus has better PR?
I don't know, I feel like I'm being tricked.
What was the Indian tribe that discovered America?
Cherokee.
Only thing I know is the Cherokees, the Sequoias, and the Iroquois.
Iroquois?
Yeah.
Now, which Indian tribes did Columbus deal with when he got here?
Taino Indian, which is I'm actually descent of Taino Indian.
What a woman.
Do you harbor animosity towards Columbus since you're Native American?
Not at all. So you have to forgive to live.
Tell me how Columbus got here.
One of them raft things, right?
Well done! Well done!
Now, when Columbus got here, where did he land, do you think?
He landed in Manhattan Island.
What did he do when he got to the island of Manhattan?
And he formed a colony.
Where did Columbus land when he touched down?
New York.
More south.
Boston.
Now, where did he land when he arrived?
California.
When he got to California, what was the first thing that he did?
He put down his flag and declared it.
Holy shnikes.
What year around did Columbus arrive?
Columbus sailed the ocean blue in something 62, 1562, I don't know.
It was like 1692.
What year did he discover America, Columbus?
1492.
Would you like to sing something in honor of Columbus? Now, how did the Indians get here to discover America?
I'm guessing it was before all the tectonic plates moved around.
We had, that Pangea thing with the Ice Age. They rode mammoths and everything.
They rode a mammoth.
Get off my face!
Do you know who I am?
I'd love to know who you are.
I'm Waters, and this is my world.
And here you are. Why?
All right, there's Waters. Now, do you know the three ships that Columbus sailed over?
The Nina, Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Very good. Very good. And
do I get anything for that?
No. You keep your job, which is hanging by a thread.
Thank goodness.
And who paid for the trip?
Well, they sailed under the Spanish crown.
As I just said in the lead,
So
yeah.
Ferdinand and Isabella?
Very good,
Yes.
Waters. Ferdinand has put up the money, and then they landed in California.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Now, the
Which would have
woman
been
that
a little hard.
Now, I said, what flag did they plant? And she said, the American flag.
American flag.
And I said, did they have the stars? She said, no, just the stripes.
Yes, the stripes. Now, actually, do you know where Columbus first landed?
Was it Hispaniola? Or the Bahamas?
Close.
Bahamas?
It's called Bahamas.
Yes.
Yep. It was an island, out island, Bahamas, and he was there. And then he checked into a hotel and, went back. That's
Can I
what
quiz
happened.
you?
Go ahead.
Okay. What was he looking for when he was sailing around on the three
A
ships?
pathway to the Orient. They were all looking to go to Asia.
We'll give it to you.
Okay, because the Chinese dynasties were so wealthy, and they wanted to tap into that wealth, so they thought they'd go that way. Why couldn't they go the other way?
Because Africa was in the way?
Africa. You're a total idiot. Because the Muslims, okay, the
Yes.
Caliphate,
Yes.
so powerful, no Europeans could go east, so they went west.
Wow.
How about that,
That was
huh?
a learning experience.
You bet. Factor tip of the day. Would you like to be on the Factor tomorrow? It's possible. The tip, moments away. Factor tip of the day in a moment. We want you to be on this program tomorrow night. But first is coming Sunday night. The movie Killing Reagan will be shown on the National Geographic Channel. The action begins at 8 Eastern Time. Film repeats at 11, so those on the West Coast can see it in prime time. Good movie. You're going to like it. You'll learn stuff about the Reagans. In honor of that, BillO'Reilly.com has a special promotion. Buy the books Killing Reagan and Killing the Rising Sun together. Get a whopping 25% off. Become a BillO'Reilly.com premium member. You get any of my books free of charge. Now, the Mail, J.D. Bekwati, Montreal, Canada. Trump was too intimidating last night, invading Hillary Clinton's personal space. In those town hall formats, J.D., candidates can roam around at will. I didn't see any invasion. John Lane, Colorado Springs. My wife and I are conservative Christians. Up until a few days ago, we're going to vote for Trump. That is no longer the case. Carol Smallwood, Fairbanks, Alaska. We are a conservative family, and our friends agree. We don't care about what Trump has said. We care about what Hillary has done. S.T. Sutton, Newton, New Jersey. Mr. O'Reilly, you have no idea what will happen if Trump does this or that. Stick to the facts, not your personal opinion. The O'Reilly Factor is built around my personal opinion, sir. 20 years, thus the name, the O'Reilly Factor. Cliff Mathis, Birmingham, Michigan. Watching the debate may be sick. Neither of the candidates are remotely qualified to lead the country. Ken Marzucci, Redding, California. I never comment on politics, but I have to say that Trump scored in the debate. Linda Parker, Urbana, Virginia. O'Reilly, your interview with Bob Woodward was telling. You said the president must have moral authority. So you really think Bill and Hillary Clinton possess moral authority? Amanda Lefko, LaGrange, North Carolina. I would love to donate to help the Haitian people, but don't want my money to be stolen. I just wrote a check today to the Haitian Health Foundation, Amanda. Check it out on BillO'Reilly.com. It goes right to the folks. Thanks for being compassionate. Danny Amarzaka, Greenville, South Carolina, just picked up Killing Reagan, Killing Patton, Killing the Rising Sun. Which one should I read first? Doesn't matter. They all stand alone, Dan. But with Killing Reagan movie coming on Sunday, that book will make it more enjoyable. And a very happy 105th birthday to Mary Leonardi in New Jersey. Way to go, Mary. Finally, tonight, Factor tip of the day. Listen up. We would like you to be on the Factor tomorrow night. We may have Trump on, hope so, but at the end of the program, I want to answer your direct questions about the campaign, the debate. Also, if you believe we're not being fair, we want to hear from you. Letters pithy and not insane. We're looking for unique vantage points. Simply send your email or O'Reilly@FoxNews.com. I'll repeat that in a moment. Factor tip of the day, and that is it for us tonight. Please check out the Fox News Factor website, different from BillO'Reilly.com. And here we go again. And we'd like you to spout off about the Factor and try to get on the program tomorrow.